Welcome back to the Blue Chip Breakdown, Vols fans. I'm your host, Bull. In today's video, we'll be looking at ESPN's FPI rankings for 2024 and what 12 teams will be making it to the playoffs. We're going to go through round and round, and I'll tell you who I think is going to be winning each individual matchup. Y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all think as we're going through it. And please, as always, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Now, for those of y'all that don't know what the FPI is from ESPN, they have one for college football and for the NFL, but basically what it is a measurement of how many points each team will beat the average team by in their own league. So I think it's a pretty good indication of what teams are, probably the most dominant teams. It's just a different way to look at these rankings, but I think that it's fun. So looking at the rankings, number one, okay, we've got UGA, and then at number two, we've got Oregon, 3, Texas, 4, Ohio State, 5, Alabama, 6, Penn State, 7, Notre Dame, 8, Oklahoma, 9, our Volunteers, 10, Missouri, 11, Florida State, and then at 12, we have Michigan. So let's go ahead and take a look at how the matchups are going to be looking in the first round of the playoffs. Keep in mind that the highest rated 4 teams will be getting that first round bye, and in each individual matchup, the highest rated team will get a home game. So this is going to be starting with the first round, December the 20th through the 21st, and the first matchup that we're going to have is number 12, Michigan, playing at number 5, Alabama. This is the rematch of the national championship from 2024. I think it's going to be a really good game. I just think that Alabama is going to be the better team this season. Now, I said the same thing last year. I feel like Alabama was going to win with Coach Saban still there. These are two teams that have two completely new head coaches. How are they going to look throughout the season? Well, according to this, they're both going to be really good. But I have Alabama winning this one. I just think that their style of play is going to match up very well versus Michigan's. But at the same time, I could see Michigan pulling this one off as well. On to the next matchup, we have number 11, Florida State, playing at number 6, Penn State. And this is going to be a really interesting matchup. I don't remember when the last time that Florida State and Penn State played. If it was recently, then I just must have missed it. But, I feel like these are two programs that kind of like at that same point, right, where this got to get over that hump. I really like Coach Franklin, obviously, because my brother P did play with him, or he did play for him. But, it's just hard for me to pick them right now because I don't know what they're going to do with that offense. If the offense does get good, if the offense gets going, then I'd say Penn State's a team that everyone needs to be worried about because Coach Franklin knows how to get guys motivated. And then, I think that their defense has been really good. I think that he has a good eye for talent. So, we'll kind of see what happens. But I do have Florida State winning this one. I just think that they've got too much firepower. We'll see what DJU does playing a quarterback. I think that's going to be a very, very interesting game. But yes, I do have Florida State advancing on to the quarterfinals. And for the next matchup, we have number 10, Missouri, playing at number 7, Notre Dame. And I don't know how Notre Dame's going to look this year. I'm hearing a whole lot of good things about them. I just, again, I kind of feel like Notre Dame's another one of those teams, kind of like Penn State, just teams that are trying to get over that hump. And we'll see what happens. But I've got Missouri winning this one. I just think that, they're going to be the better team overall. I think that they're going to be, have a lot more athletes. Brady Cook has been playing there for like 15 years now, so he should have it figured out. But at the same time, I just feel like Mizzou is a team that is only good every 3 to 4 years, and after that, they just drop back to being average. But, just looking at it this way, based off of these FPI rankings, if they make it into the playoffs, then, they could have a chance to, upset some teams. And I guess Notre Dame will be the first team that I could see them upsetting. Now, on to the last matchup in the first round, I have our Volunteers at number 9 going to Oklahoma again. Okay, this will be the second time in the season that we'll be facing Oklahoma. And I've got our Volunteers winning this one just because if you look at how the rankings are set up, with Oklahoma being the higher rated team, we probably lost to them earlier in the season down there in Norman. I just don't see them beating us twice in the same year. I honestly don't see them beating us once, but I've got us beating them and advancing on to the quarterfinals as well. Now, let's move on to the quarterfinals. This is where the bowl games start to come into play. And the first matchup is going to be UGA, who is the number 1 seed, versus number 11, Florida State. This, I think, is going to end up being the Peach Bowl on January the 1st. And I've got UGA winning this one. This is another rematch. I could see Florida State saying, hey, look, we got to get some get back because y'all stomped a hole into our chest last season whenever we didn't have anybody playing. They've got, all these players coming back. And, I think that they do have a really good shot at being a good enough team to beat a team like UGA. But I don't have them winning this one. I just think that, Georgia at this point should be locked in. And, of course, with this being the Peach Bowl, it's going to be in Georgia. It's pretty much a home game for Georgia. I think that they're going to win this one. Now, on to the next matchup. We have number 2 Oregon versus number 10 Missouri. This is where I think that Missouri goes down. And I think Oregon has a really good team. I think that they are going to be like a top 5 caliber type of a team this season. I think that they are the real deal. Several good players. Now, if everything all comes together, because some of that talent is from the transfer portal, but I think that Oregon has enough firepower to beat what I feel like is going to end up being a lackluster Missouri team. So that game is going to be the Rose Bowl, also on January the 1st. And we will go on to number 4, Ohio State versus number 5, Alabama. This is going to be in the Sugar Bowl, also on January the 1st. Okay, so these are all the New Year's Day games. I've got Ohio State winning this one. I just think that this is going to be the year that Ryan Day maybe gets over that hump, right? That's the only concern that I have about Ohio State. I've heard some people talk about some offensive line troubles and all that, but I've seen them. I watched their spring game. You take that kind of like with a grain of salt, but knowing what their front is, I think that their offensive line should be able to hold up well. And Alabama sounds like they've also got some offensive line issues. So with all things pretty much even, I do think that Coach DeBoer is the better coach overall, but I've got Ohio State winning this one, man. It's going to be in Texas, so it's, kind of a neutral site for both teams. I think that both fan bases will show up very well, but yeah, I've got Ohio State winning this one. So on to the last game in the quarterfinals, and we have number 3 Texas versus our Tennessee Volunteers at number 9. This is going to be the Fiesta Bowl. It's the only bowl that's going to be played on December the 31st. So New Year's Eve, I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun for our Volunteers, but Texas is a great team. It's a team that everyone wants to play because it's the battle of the UTs, right? We have the real orange. They've got that burnt orange. It's actually brown. And, it's just kind of been like a rivalry for a long time. It's been kind of a like whispered about rivalry, I feel like. But we're going to show them who the real UT is. I think that Tennessee does win this one. I just think that we're going to find a way to win. Steve Sarkisian is another coach that this kind of seems to blow it in these big-time game moments. Can he get over that hump? And we can say the same thing about Coach Heupel. Can he get over the hump? Can he, just win the games that he's supposed to win? Now, I wouldn't say that Texas is a team that Tennessee necessarily is supposed to beat, not on paper anyway, but I do feel like this is one that Tennessee is just going to be ready for, man. Like, I just think that Nico is going to rise to the occasions for all the big games. I think that the team is going to be clicking on a different cylinder. We're going to be in that right groove. Tennessee is going to be the team that nobody wants to see at this point in the season, and that's why I think that we are going to win this game and advance on to the semifinals. So on to the semifinals, let's talk about number 1. Okay, we're going to talk about Oregon versus Ohio State. All right, so this is going to be the Cotton Bowl, and I think this is going to be a really, really good game, y'all. So I do believe that Oregon and Ohio State play in the regular season. According to the way that the rankings look, Oregon would have beat Ohio State earlier in the season. So I've got Ohio State beating them this time, but I could definitely see this going either way for sure. Now, for our matchup versus UGA, same thing that we kind of talked about facing Oklahoma earlier in the season, and we just talked about with the Buckeyes. We probably would have lost to UGA before we played this game. This is going to be a really, really big one. This is going to be the Orange Bowl. It's going to be down in Miami. It's just something about, I think, our entire team that performs well in the Orange Bowl all the time. It is the Orange Bowl, right? Like, we should win it. I think that we will win it, especially because UGA would have beat us earlier in the season just based off of how the rankings look right now. So our Volunteers are going to be advancing on to the national title on January the 20th in Atlanta, Georgia, facing up against Ohio State. And I think that we have a really good shot to win this one. I just think that we match up well versus Ohio State. What they like to do, I think that we are going to be literally built to stop them. I think that we're literally going to be built to score points on them. This one right here, and this is going to sound crazy to y'all, but I think that this one could end up being the least challenging game out of any game that Tennessee will see in the playoffs. So I do have us winning the whole doggone thing. But y'all let me know y'all's thoughts down in the comments section. And as always, thank y'all so much for sticking all the way to the end. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.